Hello and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for August of 2023. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California.
Let's take a look at what's happening this month for you. Hi there, Pisces. Well, Juno starts the month in Cancer in your 5th house. And I probably said to you in last month's horoscope that this is a really good time for having fun with any and all partners that you might have in your life that you may have committed relationships with. For example, a spouse, a long-term relationship, a co-parent, even a business partner. And there's always some time when it's a good idea to have fun, to play, to get goofy, to sort of let your hair down a little bit with that partner and just remind them that there's a reason why you guys got together, and that can be reinforced by through sharing some enjoyment and some fun and lightening things up. So Juno starts out with that emphasis, and then in the middle of the month, around the 15th or 16th, Juno moves on into the 6th house. And that's part of the signal that playtime is over and that it's time to settle down to work. And if this is a work partner of yours, then this is a really good time to put your heads together around how can the systems be better organized. It's also a really good time for hiring and managing people that you work with. So if you manage people in teams, or if you have a team of people under you in some form that you have to be aware of what they're doing and make sure that everybody's on the right schedules and so forth. This is a really good month for figuring that kind of stuff out. And then this is a house of order. It's a house of health. And those themes might crop up in a committed personal relationship if you're in one. So for example, your partner might have some health issue come up, or you might have some health issue come up and you need your help from your partner. That kind of thing can happen. And so supporting the health side of your long-term relationship is a really great approach while Juno is traveling through your 6th house. And she's going to be here until mid-October. So plenty of time to get some great stuff done while she's here. And then towards the end of the month, Uranus is going to go retrograde. So I want to tell you about this. Now, Uranus is traveling along through your 3rd house and has been here for several years already. And Uranus goes retrograde every year, and then will stay retrograde for several months. But right around the time when Uranus actually goes retrograde, you may have some pivotal experience, some kind of shift in your approach to whatever area Uranus is moving through. Now, Uranus is traveling through your 3rd house, which is, I think, a place that Uranus likes to be. This is a house of communication and ideas, thought and research, and it's the house of your voice. Now, Uranus is quite the change maker. He really likes to stir things up. And so if you have ideas that have become entrenched, ways of thinking about things that have become very habitual, and you're reluctant to change them, while Uranus is moving through this house, he's probably going to bring some pretty new ideas that might upset the apple cart and cause you to think in new and different ways. Now, that can be really great if you're, for example, in a line of work where you have to use your mind, you have to think innovatively, or where you have to learn. And Uranus can really pave the way for that. However, I do want to warn you that while Uranus is here, your communication might get a little bit weird, because Uranus is the weirdo of the zodiac and kind of likes to do things in the way that's the most rebellious or reactive. So watch out for your communication being more reactive, especially when Uranus goes retrograde later this month and for the next several months, really through the end of the year, while Uranus is traveling retrograde. And then the last thing I want to tell you about before turning this over to Julia is that Ceres is in Libra, passing along through your 8th house. Now, this is a little bit nerve-wracking because Ceres is associated with your own money, your own stability and groundedness, your own finances, and your sense of security. And it's traveling through the 8th house, which is the opposite of that. The 8th house is the domain of things that you share, resources that you share, including money. And this is a domain of trust. So while Ceres is in the 8th house, you might find yourself drawn into situations where people are asking you to invest your hard-earned resources into them or what they're doing. You might be involved in conversations or negotiations about how to share your resources, perhaps with your spousal partner or a business partner. And you might want to just proceed in a very balanced and thoughtful way as you consider how do you maintain some boundary around what's yours while also placing your trust in this person or perhaps an investing instrument, and how do you vet that source so that you can know whether to trust them or not. So those might be the sorts of things that come up while Ceres is traversing your 8th house. And it's good to bring a very practical approach. And Ceres is going to be here until mid-September. Hey, Julia, what's up with Venus, Mercury, and Mars?
Hey there, Pisces. Let's talk about Venus. She's the planet that rules your romantic relationship, and she starts the month retrograde in your 6th house. Now, Venus goes retrograde about once every 2 years, so it's pretty significant because it happens less frequently than, say, Mercury retrograde. But it's usually a time of relationship review in our life. So with Venus retrograde in the 6th house, you could be reviewing and thinking a lot about your relationship in terms of 6th house stuff. So this is the house of work. It's a house of service, and it's also a house of health. So maybe you're looking at your relationship and seeing, have you guys been of service to each other in practical ways? Like, is one of you maybe helping the other more out? And do you guys actually find ways of helping each other out in the workplace too, in career as well? Those can be sort of significant matters in people's lives. The other way this could go is, do you guys share the same routines together? Do you want to have better routines with your partner? And how are you and your partner when it comes to health? Is one of you very healthy and the other one likes a lot of junk food? And does that create issues in the relationship as well? Now, by August 13th, when Venus directly conjoins the sun while retrograde, we call that Relationship Clarity Day. This can be a time of insights and revelations into these matters that I just discussed. And if you do happen to be single, then you might be sort of reviewing your next relationship, sort of taking inventory on the past and thinking, okay, what do I want about my next relationship to be different than my last one, especially in terms of how my partner and I might help each other, how we can work together, and what types of routine and health we can have together. Now, Mercury is going to go retrograde later in this month, so a lot of retrogrades going on, but Mercury starts the month direct in your 7th house. This house rules your romantic relationship, any partners you have, like a business partner, as well as contractors. And when Mercury is in this house, it's a time of really wanting to connect a lot more to your partner, to talk with them, have important conversations with them. This can also be a time where you want to hire people for advice, like doctors, lawyers, consultants of all kinds. However, if you do hire consultants this month, and since Mercury is going retrograde on the 23rd, you might want a second opinion from that person. So be ready, to not just take the advice of whoever you hire, but be ready to sort of explore more options if necessary during this retrograde, which is happening on August 23rd. And that can also be a time of miscommunications within your romantic relationship and business partner as well. Now, finally, Mars, the planet of action and activity, spends most of the month in your 7th house. Again, this is your romantic relationship. These are consultants you hire for advice. And Mars in the 7th might mean, because Mars is the planet of action and activity, that your partner is a bit more fired up this month. Maybe they're a bit more assertive and confrontational. Maybe you're getting a little more annoyed by them than usual. Now, Mars in the 7th can be a great time for getting very active with your partner. Go on a hike, go for a jog, do a physical project together, because that can be a wonderful way to use this energy, or get active with your business partner in some way. Get a lot of work done together. And again, consultants might annoy you with Mars in the 7th house. So, be careful that when you hire people for advice, expect to maybe take a little bit more time reviewing things, and and you might disagree with them as well with Mars in the 7th. Now, by August 27th, Mars enters your 8th house of shared finances. This house rules the finances you share with your partner or your family, as well as investments like loans or mortgages, money that you basically share with institutions. So yeah, it can be basically all types of ways of earning money through investments, or even inheritances and joint credit cards. So when Mars is in the 8th house, it could bring some frustration and conflict over money. It can be a difficult time to apply for a loan or remortgage a house, for example. And there might be disagreements over money too. But with Mars in the 8th, you're really, really driven to sort of achieve more money through shared means. And this can be a fabulous time to do research, because that's also ruled by the 8th house. So apply yourself for doing a lot of research in terms of how you can maybe grow your investments, for example. But this might be more of a time of researching than acting in that realm of life. And this is a good transit for any type of research or investigation that you need to do in your life now, Pisces.
Hi, Jamie here. Horoscopes and moon videos are fun, but they're also really general. Did you know we run live workshops monthly, and that you can get questions answered about your own chart there? This month's topic is how to get passion and commitment in one blissful package. In this workshop, you'll discover your 2 different types, for love and for marriage, and how to resolve them in a single, passionate, and committed relationship. If you haven't found lifelong love yet, you might want to consider attending this. This workshop is expressly for our Tier 2 Patreon subscribers. It's easy to sign up at the Patreon link in the description below. I'd love to see you there. Now let's get back to the video.
Well, I've got 3 moons to tell you about. The first one is a full moon in Aquarius, which lands right here in your 12th house. And when the full moon lands in your 12th house, you really might want to hide, Pisces, not because it's a bad moon, just because this is a house of retreat and solitude, and you may be feeling like you really want to pull inward. That just might be your mood during a moon like this. Now, we're calling this one Big Egos Disrupt Group Nourishment, because the Aquarian moon is very social, but the Leo sun is pulling for a centralizing of attention on just one person. And so, it could easily turn into a social environment where one person is demanding a lot of attention, and that would be exacerbated by Jupiter's involvement over here too. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if you, finding yourself in a situation like that, just kind of want to retreat, and maybe it's better to not go to the party in the first place. That might even be more comfortable for you. Now, the second moon I want to tell you about is happening on August 16th. This is a new moon, and it lands in Leo in your 6th house. New moons are really great times for planting seeds and beginning things. This gives you the opportunity to create new beginnings in your work life, in the systems that you run, how you stay organized, and how you manage people that you work with. And we're calling this moon mending rifts, not making them. There is some distinct stress in the form of a square to that Uranus that I was telling you about, that I said might get things a little bit weird in your communication. And so watch out for that to crop up during this moon, and don't let it create rifts that don't need to be there. And I do want to say that there's tons of harmony in this moon. It has beautiful trines to Chiron and the North Node, and a sextile to Vesta. And so there's loads of harmony in this moon, and I think there's nothing here that can't be overcome and smoothed over. And then the third moon that I want to tell you about is the full moon in Pisces, which is your sign. And so this one lands in your first house. And this is the second full moon inside of a single calendar month. And we call that a blue moon. It doesn't have any astrological significance. It's just kind of a fun thing when it happens. So the moon landing in your first house might bring up strong emotions for you. And you might even feel a little bit like you're being watched, like you're being scrutinized, or you're being judged, because this moon sits at the apex of a configuration we call a yod. And if you've ever heard the phrase finger of God or yod in astrology, and you wanted to know what it's about, then you should definitely check out the video that we made about this moon, which is on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the forecast, on the forecast page. And in that, we explain, what a yod is and why it feels the way that it does. But suffice it to say that this moon in Pisces, which is not very good at boundaries and is in fact very emotionally porous, might have you feeling particularly sensitive to the emotional weather in any environment that you're in under this moon. And Saturn's presence may be just what you need to draw some stronger boundaries around yourself, so that you don't have to feel everybody else's emotions as if they were your own. So then the last thing I want to talk about is the seasonal change. In the first half of the month, we see a lot of, oh, it didn't like that, did it? Okay, let me fix this. August 16. In the first half of the month, we see so much activity right here in your sixth house, really emphasizing the workplace and your routines and the arena of health and service and practical matters. And so lots of emphasis on that realm here in the first half of the month. And hopefully you're doing some really great, attending to those things. But when the sun moves on into the seventh house right here on August 23rd, you can see that this becomes the area of emphasis, the realm of relationships and partnerships of all kinds. Now, wherever the sun goes, we want to pay high quality attention, because that way things can really flourish, because whatever you put your attention on grows. And this being the house of partnership, this is a really great time of the year to pay attention to your partner and shine the light of your conscious awareness on your partner, and just make them feel really seen, really noticed, really special, really shiny. So this is a really good month for doing that in any and all partnerships that you may have, so that people feel that they are really, that you're really with them, and that they are important to you. And so you definitely want to do that kind of stuff for about the 30 days that the sun is traversing your seventh house, beginning on August 23rd. And it can have such a wonderful effect in relationships of all kinds.
Well, that's all for today. If you love Pandora Astrology's free and informative horoscopes, please do hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share our horoscopes with your friends.
You can find out so much more about how this month's transits affect you in very personal timing in our monthly Patreon workshops. Find the link in the description below to get started. Enjoy your summer, and until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.